Watch arcade, watch arcade then. They can't come the other way. They can't come
Nice,
through.
GG.
We get it?
Good execution.
Got it.
Green, we just censor office and dock, right?
Yo, what? It like swings open? Dude, this is slick.
I'm dropping.
Going. I'm pushing.
Nice.
Alright, here we go.
Alright, what's the plan?
Are we going all out?
Yeah.
So they could do this. I don't think that they'll try to open storefront.
I feel like storefronts are big enough play.
Door charge freezer, and then wall charge storefront so you can look at the front.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's rocking what?
I'm taking extra flash just to see if we can finish it right here.
Alright, I'm out of here.
Well, they're going now. They're ready.
Here I'm heading north.
Alright.
Who's got clacker?
Do we have arcade or do they have it?
We still have arcade.
3, 2, 1.
Tell them going in.
Freezer and storefront.
You have the power.
Send it, brother.
Watch arcade, watch arcade then. They can't come the other way. They can't come
Nice,
through.
GG.
We get it? Good execution.
Got it.
Green, we just censor office and dock, right?
Yo, what? It like swings open? Dude, this is slick.
I'm dropping.
Going.
I'm pushing.
Nice.
Alright, here we go.
Alright, what's the plan?
Are we going all out?
Yeah.
So they could do this. I don't think that they'll try to open storefront.
I feel like storefronts are big enough play.
Door charge freezer, and then wall charge storefront so you can look at the front.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's rocking what?
I'm taking extra flash just to see if we can.
Hello, everyone. Everyone. I'm TH Pine, and I'm your community manager / gardener for Due Process. So welcome to Community Hours, our weekly Q&A session about the game. So ask me anything about Due Process, about the future of Due Process, about the past of Due Process, whatever you want to hear about, like prioritization on the roadmap, about game design decisions, whatever you want to hear. I'm cool to answer them. Also, if you want to jump, like if you want to ask your question in, like you can either ask your questions in the Twitch chat or the YouTube chat, that is, or you can raise your hand in Discord. Like join the stage channel in Discord and raise your hand, and I might drag you in and give you some voice permission so we can actually talk. That was fun last week when we tried it the first time, so looking forward to using it again. First few people are joining in. I feel like actually using the stage feature will actually reduce our stream viewer numbers because people will just use that instead of Twitch, because I mean there's not much going on in the stream anyway. You'll miss my beautiful face, but besides that, I mean, I guess you can't you can ask questions via voice, but you can't ask them via chat. But not everyone wants to ask asks questions in the first place. A lot of people are just here to lurk. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, unfortunately today we didn't. This week, I mean, we didn't had an update. But we'll look. It looks like we'll have one on next week. Well, we'll have our weekly map update Friday, obviously, but we'll probably have another game update on Monday, with some cool stuff coming. So look forward to that. And yeah, so there's not really something we can talk about like in regards to recent changes. Well, we can still talk about last week's changes, I guess, but we talked about them pretty excessively last week. So why is Photon such a cool guy? I mean, is he cool though? Photons are light, right? And light is like hot, usually. Not cool. I don't know. Pineapple with pizza or pineapple without pizza? Without pizza. What? No. Oh, you got me there. Pizza without pineapple. God damn it. I don't like pineapple in general, so... Yeah, like, none of these options make sense to me. Can you tell something about the next tile set? Not really, I think. Nah, nothing that would be... well, I can tell you one thing. When you see the tile set, you'll say, oh, that makes sense. I could have seen that one coming. But you'll probably not see it coming anyway. I know you're talking about Photon from Kitura. I was making a joke in response to your joke. Daxi asks, are there any more changes coming to Factory? Pipework was a good change, but you guys mentioned optimizations on Factory. I think they mentioned optimizations were mostly like the office windows. So that was that. We have some more like long-term plans for Factory, but nothing concrete, nothing short in coming in the near future. Nothing we can share right now. We're not like Factory is not like finished yet, quote unquote. But for now, it is what it is. Will you be reducing price? Okay, well, I'll read this question as it's meant to be, I think. Will you reduce the price permanently to get more players in? Short answer is no. Long answer is, well, first of all, reducing the price would probably not significantly increase the number of players. A little bit, sure, but not significantly. Probably, at least. That's my guess. But besides that, that's not our strategy. Our strategy is to improve the game continuously and then frequently or regularly release new content. Like besides, like we improve the game by improving performance, getting new systems in, blah blah blah, all these nice things, fixing bugs, and then we release new content like a new tile set or something like that, every few months or so. Or and we'll I'm very sorry. We will combo that with a new sale and a new promotional push, like getting some YouTubers to play the game again and stuff like that. Maybe some Steam storefront coverage again and stuff like that. And this will basically get the people in. We'll get the old people back in because they want to check out the new content, and we'll get new people in because, oh, look at this, shiny, and then they will stay for the improvements. That's the plan. So our goal is to like go these like a staircase, not really like a staircase, but like get a spike, drop down again, get a spike, drop down again. But every time we drop down, it will drop not as low as last time. So we're continuously growing the community. That's the goal, and that seems to be working out right now. So we'll continue with that plan. We'll have more when the game is a little bit more close to, well, I don't want to say closer to being finished, because when is a game finished in this day and age? But a little bit more, if we want more, the game still needs a lot of polish in a lot of areas. And if we're a little bit more comfortable with the state of the game, we will also increase our marketing budget even more like that, and do more things to get more players in. But we'll make sure the player base doesn't die out by continuously marketing the game and improving it, obviously. So that's the plan. We also frequently, as I just mentioned, go on sale quite excessively, actually, like usually 40 or 50% off. So if you don't want to pay the full God damn it, I have a hard time with words today. If you don't want to pay the full price, just wait for a sale. But as I said at the beginning, We don't believe that the player base issue is related to the price in a significant manner. All right. What plans do you guys have to grow the game more? I guess I answered that. I just answered that, so. How are you able to communicate in the free agent for the DPL Discord? You need to free agent role. This is kind of the wrong place to ask because DPL is not like it's community ran. But I can still answer that. I think you need to get the free agent role by reacting to a message to get the role, and then you can write a free agent post in there. Do you plan to have any game modes other than Diffuse? Not in the foreseeable future. Maybe in the far, like maybe sometime in the far future, but not right now. We're focusing on our main game mode, mainly because of resources, right? We're a fairly small team. We need to prioritize the important things. Like we could branch out, sure, but that would not. We don't think that would make the game like we want to focus our resources on what we think helps the game the most. So branching out into new game modes or different platforms and stuff like that, all cool things we want to do eventually, but they're not very high on the priority list because we want to make sure that the core game, like our Diffuse game mode on PC, is like getting really good, so people actually want to play it, or more people want to play it and stick around. And if we succeed with that, then we can branch out, do more game modes, reach out to other platforms like consoles or Linux or whatever, and all of that stuff. Bring back Fix Factory. I mean, I think it got a significant improvement with Pipeworks and Office Windows, but yeah, it's not done yet. It will change again in the future, but not right now. Priorities again. Maybe I'm ignorant, but what part of maps are procedurally generated if you are building the maps yourselves? Map making stream. The foundation is basically. So let me put it this way. Our goal is not to fully automate the process of map generation. I mean, that would be nice, but that would like to get an algorithm to create the maps we have at a reasonable quality, at a significant God damn it, I'm sorry, I'm out of I'm out of it today. Let me try again. So having an algorithm that would create maps at a consistent quality without ever throwing up, and do so in a short period of time, because it needs to do it in a loading screen if you want to automatically generate them every time you play. That would be amazing, but that would also be ridiculously hard. Like, ridiculously hard. So instead we go for, we apply the 80-20 rule, which means usually when you have a task, the first 80%, or the last 20% rather, from 80 to 100, are 80% of the work. So the first 80% are 20% of the work. So the first 80% are fairly easy in comparison to the last 20, is what I'm saying. So we did go the first 80%, which is making the map generator create the foundation of the map, so the room layouts. It plays Tetris with the rooms and spawns some cover in and stuff like that. And then we let the level designers do the last 20%, which is placing doors, placing bomb, rearranging cover a little bit, and stuff like that. The goal, or we're continuously working on making the human part, like the part that is requires human interaction, as easy and small as possible, so we can shift the ratio of like how much, or we can reduce the time a level designer needs to create a new map. Because if we get that lower, we can pump out more levels, right? Or shift the workload for the level designer on creating new tile sets, for example, because that's cooler, obviously, than just creating more levels all the time. So that's kind of what it does right now. One of the reasons why making an algorithm that would consistently do it at a high quality would be in a short time span would be really hard. Is like there's a technical reason, which is our lighting system. It requires baking, quote unquote. So baking. I just realized you can see me, so I can just do baking and not say quote unquote, but never mind. So we do light map baking, which is you bake the light map into a texture. So before the map is even in the game, the light maps are calculated already. So the walls know how they look in different lighting, basically. So this allows you to, well, have dynamic lighting in the game, like power off, flashlights, and all that stuff, without having an extreme, without being very taxing for your local computer, right? And that light map baking process takes 20 to 40 minutes per map, depending on the tile set. So doing that during a loading screen would be a big no-no. So that's one of the big reasons we don't do it. And instead, we just create a bunch of maps every week and add them to the pool every Friday and remove a few from the pool as well. So usually we release at least 20 new maps every week and remove a few others. And right now the pools should be around 150 maps total. But it's ever changing. Are we allowed to suggest content creators for sponsored videos? I'd love to see people like Russian Badger play, especially. You are allowed. I would recommend sending them to Smith because he's the one handling that topic. Defender Economy when will be out? Kind of. Still not in the like. Will still take a while. It's not coming anytime soon. It's not too far out, I think, but it's not quite decided yet. Like, priorities are shifting. It's not done yet, so work on it has started, but usually like priorities shift a little bit back and forth, and things get pushed back. So it's hard to say when it's actually coming out. It's definitely not done yet. There's still a significant amount of work to be done, and so yeah, don't expect it like next week or this month or whatever. If you could, can you explain the prioritization of stuff on the roadmap and what's being worked on? Do you have any specific questions, Comms? I can give you a broad answer. Basically, we're focusing on, I think it was 4. Let me just go through the points. We were focusing on multiple points. One of them is performance, because our performance is still not quite where we want it to be and where people expect it to be. So that's an important part. We are also continuously working on improving the gunplay, because that's also one of the topics that gets discussed a lot, and we get a lot of positive, but also a lot of negative feedback on. And the third one is networking stuff, like hit reg and stuff like that. So these 3 things are very important. On top of that, we're working on making people experience the core fun of the game, is what I like to call it. So this game is about planning, right? The whole premise of the game is to make planning matter. So if people play this game without ever planning, they will lose if they play against a team that's planning, sure. But they will also not have fun because they're not experiencing the core fun of the game. The core fun of the game is you make a plan with your teammates and you execute it. And you'll succeed or you'll fail, but you executed the plan together, that you came up with together, or one of your teammates, one person in your team came up with at least. And that's where the beauty of the game lies, right? That's the moment, like the first time a new player comes in and someone is like, hey, let's go here, blow up this wall, go in here, you throw a flashbang there, I throw a smoke there, and then we rush bomb or whatever. And they do it, and it might fail, but they do it. This is a strong moment, right? This is where everyone gets where people get hooked into the game. And that's what a lot of people actually don't, never ever experience, because people don't plan enough, especially if there are no veteran players around in the casual lobbies, and but also if people are just shy or not used to communicating with other people. So we're working on features to ease people into that and make planning easier and focus more on planning. That's what Icon System and Planning Overhaul are all about. And on top of those 4 things, obviously we're continuously working on new content, like tile sets and stuff like that, and the Pipeworks, for example, and things like that, to keep the game fresh. We would prioritize other things, but different teams, right? The engineers are not working on new tile sets. Those are different people. So it totally makes sense to have the level designers, after they're done with making levels in every week, work on new tile sets, because that's new content which will allow us to do new sales and bring on new people, or bring old people back. So this is a broad answer. If you have any specific questions, about the roadmap, feel free to follow up with another question. Let me read up on chat. Wouldn't more tilesets mean more effort for the devs, or will there be a rotation of maps? How would it be more effort? I mean, creating the tileset is hard, but then creating maps is just like, as long as we don't increase the total number of maps we make every week, it doesn't make it hard. But also we probably, like, we have at least thought about, this is not an official statement or anything, but we have considered like moving tilesets, like taking tilesets out either temporarily or permanently at some point. Like if we get too many tilesets at some point, it might be worthwhile retiring old ones, or at least pausing them and bring them back up later or something like that, like rotating them. We will see. But for now, we'll just do more tilesets. How many tilesets are you trying to have at full release? It depends on when full release is. The plan is to release a new tileset every couple of months, so multiple times a year. Should I play this game? Yes. By the way, again, if you want to ask questions in voice chat, feel free to join the stage channel in Discord and raise your hand. I managed to get 3 other friends to get the game. Awesome. I think that's like one of the big things about how to grow the community. Get your friends invested as well, because if you get your friends invested, like it's easier to get people in who know other people who play the game, because then they can teach them and can show them the core fun of the game. And it's just more fun to play games with friends, especially games that rely on communication, coordination, and stuff like that. So, especially if voice chat is kind of a requirement. So, yeah, I think that's, like, if people get their friends in, I'm very happy about that, because those are usually people who have a good chance of sticking around. Even if it is random, at least if someone suggests a common goal guideline, you have way better cohesion teamwork. Yeah, right. Even if a plan is random, or if it is randoms, you mean random players. Yeah, but yeah, if that's true. If someone suggests like at least one, like even a simple plan, makes everyone work together better and makes the game more fun. Because if you're just playing this as a shooter, like without planning and stuff, you just go in or just hold angles without like making a proper plan and coordinate, then you're not playing the game. Well, you're playing the game technically, but you're not really playing the game we intended. No, not how we intended. We're not playing. You're not playing your process at that point. You're playing like a part of your process, and you're losing a significant part, or the most important part, rather. Is there lore? There is. Like there's a bunch of lore actually, but it's not in your face. Like there's a bunch of smaller things sprinkled across the game. Like usually, like you can find lots of little tidbits in the levels, in gun descriptions and stuff like that. We're not a single-player story game or something like that, so we're not shoving the lore in your face. The face in your lore, you know. No, we're not shoving the lore in your face. Oh, I just realized people are raising their hands. Why is this showing up differently than last time? Can someone, Penguin, can you raise your hand again? I just want to check something really quick. Thanks. Why is this not showing up where it's used to? This is way harder now. Where's the... Ah, there we go. I didn't open the request thing. So if I missed any hands, I'm sorry. If you still have a question, Penguin, I'll get you in a moment. Let me go through chat first. Thanks for helping out. With the ranked rehaul, are we going to see the ELO number like Siege or no number like CSGO? To be dated. Cannot really comment on that quite yet. Not dated. To be decided. TBD. Do you plan on upping the amount of games played before you can play rank? We'll consider it. We started with a very low number on purpose. We'll see how it goes. And if the feedback is we still need higher numbers, or if we see that in our data, then we can up it. But we don't have a decision made to do that yet. But we'll consider it. Is there anything on the roadmap that will be coming in the update next week? I mean, if everything goes to plan, a bunch of the things in QA will come next week, but like we'll see. Not sure if that actually works out. I cannot promise this, but the plan is to release a few things from the QA section. Without planning, you're like losing 40 to 50% of the game. Yeah, it is what drew me to the game in the first place. Exactly, that's all about it. Okay, let's get Pingo in here. Invite to speak. Hello, Penguin.
Hello. I recently just started playing. I love the game. I absolutely love the
Awesome.
game. It's great. I've gotten like 5 other of my friends to buy it and play it with me. I was just wondering, because I know there's new people that don't have mics or are too shy to talk.
Mhm.
Is there going to be a, not like an all chat, but like a team chat? So the enemy
There's a
team
team
can't
chat.
see it? There is?
Yeah, you press enter and then you press tab, then you can switch between the different modes. I think
my gosh,
there's
that's great.
actually there's global, there's team chat. I think there's another one. Oh, that my brain is freezing right now. I think there's actually a third mode, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, just press tab while you're in the chat window.
All right, thank you. I was also wondering, what's the plan for guns? Because I kind of just joined late because I was out working. I just got
We'll
home.
make more guns for sure.
All right, all right, good.
Cannot really disclose anything yet, but we'll have more guns,
All right,
especially defender stuff. All right.
perfect. Yes, thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
All right. Let's get the High Priest of the Xan in here. That's a mouthful. Hello. High
hello.
Priest.
Hi. So, first of all, I'm a big fan of the game that you guys are working on. I just had one question about the spectate. I was wondering if when you add spectate, I know people keep running polls on whether or not you want team members to be able to spectate,
Mhm.
but I was wondering, is that going to be added for the competitive mode so it's easier to watch pro games and keep track of what's going on?
Are you asking if we will enable the spectator feature for the public so people can just watch random matches, or?
Oh, I was just wondering if, I mean, I don't know too much about game development, but I was wondering if when you add the spectate mode, if it's going to be for the competitive mode or if your teammates can spectate matches. Or spectate you
Oh.
while you're still alive, like in
I mean,
Rainbow.
wait, are you talking about first-person spectator, or are you talking about
Yeah,
spectating
I'm
a match
talking-
as a spectator?
I'm talking about first-person spectator.
Okay, I mean, right now you can. The first-person spectator we released like 2 weeks ago at this point, 3 weeks maybe. Actually, no, longer. Actually 2 months already, something like that. And we added, I think, 2 weeks ago we added a feature to disable it, right? So people cannot spectate you if you turn it off. And we're working on a feature to allow it for teammates. But I'm still not quite sure what your question is about competitive mode. Like, are you asking of watching games you're not part of, or?
Yeah, I was wondering if, like, when the Pro League uploads gameplay to their YouTube channel, if
Yes.
you're going to have, like, spectators, like in other esports, where they're going from player to player, so it's easier to keep track of.
I'm sorry, this might be on me. I'm failing to understand the question. We have first-person spectator. If you look at the VOD of the grand finals, then you'll see it in action. If that answers the
all right.
question.
Yeah, it did. I'm sorry if I was wording that poorly.
Might have been on me. It's just, I guess it's, okay, so basically we have the spectator, like, it's confusing because of the wording, right? Because we also have a spectator feature, which allows people to spectate games they're not part of. And the DPL is using that for their streams, obviously. But that's not released to the public yet. That's only people with certain permissions can use it. Eventually, we will release that to the public. We will probably first use it, but yeah, spectators. Since we have first-person spectating, spectators are now also able to spectate in first person. And yeah, eventually we release that to the public, but it's not quite in a state where we want that.
All right. Well,
right now it's
thanks
limited.
for your answer.
I hope that answers the question.
It does.
All right, awesome. No, all good. All right. What kind of data you gather during matches and what does it cover? How many watchers are used on Green or stuff like that? I'm actually not sure. That would be a good question for Tripnall. He knows more about that. I know that we track win percentage on like wins on maps. Like we track like how many times did the attackers win on a map and the defenders, and we track like total scores for matches. I know we track kill positions, like the level designers can get heat maps for maps basically, or well, right now they're not using that feature because we wouldn't need to overhaul it to make it useful again, but we used to do that in the alpha and we'll probably bring it back, but for internal purposes usually or only. I'm not sure if we track wall charges and stuff like that. We might be. That would be a question for Tripnol if you come across. You could ask a team in the Discord and see if you can get a question answer there, or if you see Tripnol around somewhere, feel free to ask him. But I'm not quite sure if there's more that we gather we track. Why there are 3 chats? I'm a new player and it's small thing like these that kind of suck that you have to learn outside of the game other people. I'm still learning something new every day. I hope the Ingram tutorial info get expanded more. Like I was super confused at the start on the colored wall system. Okay, so I think there are 3 chats. My brain is not working in that regard right now. It tells me there are 3 chat modes, but I can only think of 2, which is global and team chat. Which it's just me right now. I don't know if anyone can maybe answer that. If there are 2 or 3 right now, I don't know. I think there's a tooltip that tells you to press tab to switch the mode, though. I'm not sure. We definitely want to have better tutorials and stuff in the future, though. Okay, I think there are only 2. Yeah, there are probably only 2. My brain is just going to 3 for some reason. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think there is a tooltip for that or something like that. I think there's a message popping up, but I might be wrong. We definitely want to get better tutorialization and stuff like that in the future, for sure. What do you mean by colored walls? Well, colored wall systems. Oh, walls are usually, well, I mean, guess they're gray and black, which has some meaning. Yeah, I understand that the sentiment was that not everything is explained. I think this, yeah, as I said, like we definitely want more features, more tutorialization feature. Oh, Revenant is helping me out. Thank you. Yeah, I'm thinking of a 3rd chat because I'm used to using the spectate feature, which also gives you access to a spectator chat. So that's probably it. So that's that. Mystery solved. Right. Yeah, there's a bunch of things that are not super intuitive on your first play for sure, and we want to improve on that in the future. But it's all of like it's a lot of work to get proper tutorialization in. We have smaller things here and there, and have plans for doing some things, like some smaller things as well. So yeah, by colors I meant black, gray, yellow, blue, red, green. Oh, those are doors for most of them. Well, black and gray is walls, I guess. But yellow, blue, red, green, those are doors. That's what threw me off. But yeah, they're not super well explained either. That's very true. No, Garcia, I recommend you join the Twitch chat. I think it's more populated, especially if you're asking questions to like chat. Boundaries, yeah, that's a better term. It's all good. I was just a little confused by your wording, but I get your point. Like, yeah, the game is not super intuitive in a bunch of places, and it would be nice to have a better learning mode, better tutorials, better tooltips, stuff like that for sure. It's on the list. Okay, let's get comms in here. Hello, comms. You're very quiet.
Oh, I am. Sorry. Let me turn on my.
I'll just boost you up a little bit.
Okay. Well, my question is this. So, you know, there have been some server problems with the game. I think maybe not today, but like in the past. So my question to you is: are the server problems something that you can fix or tinker with on your end, or do you gotta depend on somebody else to fix it?
Yeah, we're depending on someone else to fix them, but we're working closely with them, and I think they resolved a bunch of issues recently, so we hopefully have less issues in the future. But yeah, usually like we're like they have to fix it, but we'll bring the issues to them. So if we can give them reasons, like here's something that didn't work out, and like we give them player logs and stuff like that, that helps a lot. Yeah, so we investigate usually on our end, and then we pass it on to them, and they fix it. And as I said, they fixed a bunch of stuff recently, so it's hopefully better going forward. But we're monitoring the situation. So if you guys encounter any weird server issues where a server hicks up or a game just dies, just please, or a match rather, please report them in bug reports with the player log file. That helps immensely.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh. Will you play the process for the stream? Maybe, probably not today. I sometimes do. Do you guys plan on optimizing the game to run better on lower end systems? It is barely playing on my system. I get more than double the FPS on Rainbow Six Siege. Yes. So first of all, yes, it's one of our top priorities. Actually, we're working very hard for it. We hired an engineer a few months back who's only working on optimization, and he's not the only one. Like, he's getting help from the others, but that's the only thing he does. He got hired to improve the performance of the game. That's his sole job, basically. So he's doing that. And yeah, that's being worked on. It's one of our highest priorities. And it always irks me if people compare the performance of this game to Rainbow Six Siege, though. I get where it's coming from, because our art style is a little bit misleading in that regard. But also, Rainbow Six is 6 years old at this point, I think. Like, that's an old game. And yeah, our game looks simple like from the graphics, but that's an artistic choice for the most part. We still use a bunch of high-end, like, modern lighting systems and stuff like that are still expensive on your computer to make it look cool. So it looks retro, obviously, but it's retro with modern technology, and therefore it looks retro but good. I'm not saying retro looks bad, but there's a difference between actually old games and games that have a retro style, but are done with modern tools usually. But yeah, it's still definitely a thing. Like, you're still right. You're absolutely right if you're saying the game doesn't run as good as you would expect right now. It's not running as good as we would want it to run, and that's why we're working hard on it. So that's definitely coming. That's one of our highest priorities, as I said. So we use multiplayer for the servers. Yes, that's our server provider. Are you going to add any more weapons to the attackers? Because I only seen very few against the defenders. What do you think that's going to be going? Well, I'm not quite sure I understand the second part of the question, but we'll probably add more attacker weapons eventually, but we'll be more careful about that. The whole idea is that the attackers are like this security force. They're very streamlined, like they have the same tools and not much variety. Like, everything is optimized so everything can be produced in a cheap way. Everything is mass produced. Like, they all have the same equipment, they're standardized and stuff like that. While the defenders are like a group of randos, basically. Everyone brings their own gun and makes them. Like, those are makeshift guns and stuff like that. So defenders have way more variety, and that's also how it will go will stay in the future. So defenders will get a bunch of more weapons, but the attackers might see some love as well in the future. Eventually. Would it be possible to add even lower graphic options? Basically, so this is a fun question because it comes up a lot. So the answer to that is there's nothing you could lower even further. Basically, we disabled all the things you could, like, there's a bunch of things we could add on to what we have already to make it even more prettier and more demanding. There's just nothing you could turn down right now, really. That's why we don't have graphics options. People are asking for graphics options usually because they want to make the game run better. The problem right now is that usually the GPU, your graphics card, is not the bottleneck. The game is very CPU dependent because our performance, most of our performance issues are lying in the network layer of the game. So the networking is taking a lot of resources from your CPU. from your processor, and therefore reducing the graphics will not do much. We have 2 graphics settings in the game, but we have them because we didn't remove them yet. Like, there's actually no point. They're almost the same. Like, we have lowest pro and what's the other one called? High FPS drops, something like that. I don't know. Lowest pro, and the other one. And they're basically looking exact the same. There's like one difference. High frame loss is the one. Thanks, Adaxi. There's like one difference, which is if you look at the map, one of them is a little darker than the other. But they both basically use the same performance whatsoever. Max frame loss might be it, yeah. So there's literally no difference. Take the one that looks better for you on the map view, because as I said, they look a little bit different. And yeah, we'll maybe one day we'll have more like fidelity options, but right now we're just running on minimum for the most part. We might add more stuff later. We'll know. Who knows? We definitely want to work on more like quality of life options, like an FPS limiter. What are the other things? Like, there are a few more things I can't think of right now. FOV sliders, things like that, for sure. But for actually graphics options, like turn down the anti-aliasing. We don't have anti-aliasing. I'm sorry. Turn off the bloom. We don't have bloom. Like, there's I think shadow quality would be something we might be able to adjust at some point. I don't know if those are actually drawing much performance though. So who knows? But yeah, I think like basically right now, as I said, we're very CPU dependent. If we're working on a big networking task right now, on 2 actually, but one of them is for performance reasons. And if we finish that, we'll hope, or we'll very likely see a significant reduction in CPU load for the game, which will shift the bottleneck over to the GPU for a lot of people. And at that point, we will start looking into optimizing that part more if it's still necessary, and then we can think about like adding more graphics options maybe that make the game look prettier, maybe? Who knows? I don't know if there's much we want to do without, like, that wouldn't go against the aesthetic and art style. But yeah, for the most part, we don't have graphics options because there's nothing you could turn down, really. Like, the game is too small to have different view distance, for example, right? So that's not the example. Just let me scroll up really quick. Pre-alpha graphics mode engaged. Yeah, block dudes. Block dudes are dead, unfortunately. Will repelling be in the game in the future? Maybe in a limited way. Don't want to say no, but not anytime soon. Not even close to that. Shield, yeah, shield will be coming back eventually. Any chance of adding melee attacks at some point? Yes, actually, probably. Shield we had a shield in the alpha, and it will come back. So we will have a shield. When Defender Baseball Bat? Yeah, maybe. Would be a good melee weapon for sure. Or a hammer, sure. Currently, whenever someone reloads, they drop the mag. I like the players can't top off their mag, but why must the player drop the half-full mag rather than just pocketing it? I have good news for you. I think it's even on the roadmap. We have tactical reloads incoming with... I think it doesn't have its own card. It's part of the Gunplay 2.0 Part 2. So that will introduce tactical reloads, as in you will not drop the mag and instead put it back in a pocket, basically. So those will be coming. Will attacker silencers fit on defender weapons or all suppressors on attacker weapons? Yes. Like all cans only work on pistol calibers anyway, though, so they will not fit on the AP25 or the Black-Tar. They just go on the PK. The attacker suppressor is, however, fits on most defender guns, actually. I'm not sure. Was it possible to put it on the Ingmar? Yeah, I believe it was, right? Yeah, should be. It is kind of annoying you have to fiddle with the ground looking for that drop mag when you reload. Yeah. I mean, I'll in the alpha it was even funnier. There was like in the alpha, the max did actually drop to the ground. Like it was a physics object. We had to turn off physics at some point because of performance. Well, maybe we can bring it back at some point or find a good way to enable a bunch of things we did with it in a different way. But max literally dropped on the ground. So if you the pro strat to pick up a mech you just reloaded was to look up while reloading, and then because that would raise the max the fall size of the mech, so it would fall for longer. So you look up, press reload, and then you grab the mech mid-air. That was the pro strat. Well, that's not possible right now because they just dropped to the ground immediately in 0 milliseconds. So a revolver, I'm sure we'll see a revolver one day. Will defenders be able to spray and tag the walls with spray cans in the future? I mean, that's definitely something that would be cool for customization at some point, and would not go against the spirit of the game, I feel. So probably at some point, but we'll focus on character customization first, and then we go to different topics after that. How about the basic leaning system? Not necessarily a keybind lean, but maybe lean when you peek corner when ADS. So, sorry. About leaning. Get the copy and paste. What is it? No, it's a common suggestion. So I'm making some jokes here. It's not meant to. No, I don't mean to be rude. I know why people ask. Basically, leaning is a very controversial topic in this community and in the dev team as well, actually, because while it would be cool, like it's a cool feel to lean around the corner, right? It also creates a lot of problems for the receiving end, because basically what leaning allows you to do is it has two problems. First, it creates a lot of pixel peaks because you make your hitbox way smaller, and we don't want pixel peaks. Pixel peaks are annoying. We don't like them. So that's one of the big issues. The other big issue is that leaning makes every cover the same. Like you don't care what shape the cover is if you just can like lean around the wall and get this perfect minimal visibility of your body to the enemy. It's like it makes every cover the same, which is boring. So those are the counter arguments. There's value in leaning. So what we plan to do is we want to experiment with ambidextrous aiming first. So right now you always carry the gun in your right hand, right? We want to allow you to swap it over to the other hand. And yes, that makes a difference because the game is actually, like the player model actually reflects that your gun is in the right hand. You have an advantage right now if you're peeking around to the right, like if you have the wall to your left, less of your body will be visible than the other way around. And allowing you to swap the gun to the other side will allow you to, well, take advantage of the other side as well, right? So we'll experiment with that. If that goes well, we might look into leaning again and see how it goes. But it's a big question mark because it causes a lot of potential issues, and so we'll see. Do you think of adding different game modes to the game, like, I don't know, capture the flag or something? I answered that earlier, actually. Not right now. We're focusing on the main game mode. If you want to know, if you want to hear a more in-depth answer, watch the VOD. It was one of the first questions. F1, mob, saber, and shotguns were the only guns the attacker suppressors could not go on. Yeah, that sounds about right. Not on the F1, really? Oh yeah, no, you're right. Didn't go on Allegros. How was the shield back in alpha? Don't either make the game stagnate or make rushes too easy. I mean, the shield was in combination with the. I see you, by the way, in the voice chat. I'll get you in a moment, but I want to catch up with chat first. The shield was not on its own. There were two features in the alpha. The attackers had the shield. The defenders had the shopping cart, which is a big shopping cart with a big LMG strapped on top of it, which is kind of a movable turret. And these two things kind of counter each other. Yeah, the shield was mostly used to push forward in corridors and especially push against the shield, against the cart. So usually you don't want to just sit around. You want to keep moving and move forward and take advantage of your movable cover, basically, because otherwise the defenders will just outmaneuver you. Mounting on head clinches like Tarkov. Yeah, hopefully not. I can already see seeing myself spamming ambi mode for a silly dance. Yeah, that's probably... It's gonna add another dimension to the loading screen shenanigans. Will smoke logic be changed to be more volumetric and not go through doors? Sorry, I haven't kept up with this game for a while. Yeah, eventually. It's not that easy, unfortunately. It's kind of a difficult task. But yeah, we wanted to not go through everything, obviously. But it's not a high priority. Because like it would be nice to have it, but it's not totally game breaking. It's a bit annoying, I get it. And solving it is actually kind of hard. So we'll do it one day. Hi Pi, you're looking cute today. Thank you. Random person I've never seen before. Davi Magno. No, it doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry. All right, let's get Elon Tusk in here. He's still around. He's waiting for a while. Hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. How's it going for you?
Good. I'm pretty new to the game and to the Discord, but I did have a quick question. Me and a bunch of other people that have gotten the game together were wondering, are there any plans to implement like a damage amount screen or receive like a damage amount done or received on death or like after the round, or any other types of leaderboards during the games?
Okay, yeah. So we don't want a straight up KDA leaderboard because that makes you focus on your personal performance too much, and also creates potentially creates toxicity and stuff like that. But like an after round or after death damage report or something like that is definitely something we are considering. We don't have concrete plans for it right now, unfortunately, because again, priorities. But it's definitely something we want to have at some point. It's not that low on the priority list, but it's still to be decided how that would look like exactly. So it's definitely something we want to do eventually, or we're considering. But how we do it exactly and which sets it will display and stuff like that is not quite decided yet.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
All right. Thank you for your question and welcome to the community. All right. Do you think of adding more gadgets to the attacker, seeing the fact that they are SWAT team and they have to be more tactical, like a camera that can go under the door and see the room gadgets? In general, more gadgets for the attackers would be cool. Camera that goes under the door, no. There's a name for it, Opticon or something like that. No, what's it called? We tried that. We actually had that in the in the very, very old days. OptiWand, yeah, that's the one I think. Like in the Blockdude build, I think we had one, and it just slows the game down to a ridiculous level. It's not fun. So that's definitely not coming back, or at least not in that shape or form. That's not how you say that, but you know what I mean. More tactical features for attackers, sure. Not an OptiWand. Was it the headshot that killed me or the fire I was standing on? Yeah, that's definitely something you want to know after you died. So a damage report or a death report would be cool, and will be something, as I said, we'll consider. No, the OptiWand just it removes every surprise the defenders can have. Like it just makes the game, and yes, it makes the game like it brings it down to a crawl. And this game is not supposed to be slow. Like don't make that mistake. The game it's a tactical game, sure. It's a game about planning, sure. That doesn't mean it needs to be super slow. We're not a simulation. We're like this is not a realism. Like it's not a realistic game, right? This is not a simulation. Basically. The goal is to make planning matter. That's the whole core, right? We want to make planning matter, and we want to make decisions matter. Sure, but we want to we'll slow the game down as much as needed to fulfill that goal, but not further than that. So if there is a feature that makes the game slower but gives you more or a little bit slower, but gives you more options or more interesting choices or makes planning matter more, then it's something we consider. But we don't want to make the game slower just to make it slow. So this will never be on like SWAT level slow or Rainbow Six, like the old Rainbow Six titles or something like that. This will also always be a somewhat fast-paced game. Do you think the current pace of games or even TTK is good right now? It's always something where, like, I don't want to say it's perfect right now, but we're kind of on where we want it to be. There's always be some changes to it, and balance is going to be shifting back and forth and stuff like that. And we're experimenting with slowing things down or speeding them up. But for the most part, this is kind of where this game is supposed to be. Okay, let's get longtime community member Adaxi in here. If he's still there. There we go.
Yes,
hello.
I'm here. So I had 2 questions for you, Pion.
Sure.
The first one is with Gunplay 2, Part 2,
Yes.
Is there anything else that you can talk about besides the whole tactical versus quick reloads that's coming, or can we not?
Let me think. I think there's a bunch of animations, like small animations coming. Or are there? I'm not sure actually. What I can tell you is that I want to do another stream with Kevin, where he shows off a few of the things he's working on. I think the main part is the reloads though. There might be a few other smaller things, but I can't think of anything specific right now.
Okay, and then my other question was about gun balance and how you guys are preparing for bringing back cart and shield possibly. Are you guys trying to balance around that, or are you just balancing the game as you go?
You mean like do we keep if we in our current balancing, if we keep the cart and shield in mind already?
Yes.
I mean in a broader sense, sure, but for the most part we're focusing on what the game like the balancing state the game is in right now. But obviously we have it in at the back of our mind that these will come back eventually, so we will not do something that's completely incompatible with it. But for the most part, as I said, we're looking at the current state and trying to focus on or balance on what we have right now.
Awesome.
All right. If you probably know this already, but if you have any more specific questions about balancing, Vince is the person to ask. But in general, people can just drop like if you have any questions, especially ones that I can't answer on stream directly because I'm not the right person to ask, I recommend everyone to go to the Discord and put them in the Ask the Team channel. Usually people respond there, usually the devs or the other team members will respond there. If they don't, I usually ping them eventually to get your questions seen and hopefully answered. So yeah, balancing questions are something for Vince, for example. So he's our lead game designer. So yeah. All right. Tell Adaxi aim as over brainers. He just left. Collision between enemies, but not between teammates when? Eventually. That's one of the things we need to get done before the shield comes back. So it's definitely something we will do. I prefer Bramers. Hey, Clover is in the chat. Hello, long time no see. Back in the alpha days, what were the go-to strats to counter shield and card? Frag grenades to kill the card, really. Molotovs to kill the shield, for the most part. Also, obviously, like get around the shield, flank it from 2 different positions. Also, it was kind of like if you were in an elevated position, it was really hard for the shield to position itself in a way that you could not shoot it. So that was something that could be beneficial to fight against it. And for the card, there were basically 2 things: either throw a frag at it, or flash the fuck out of it and then just rush it. like run around in circles or zigzagging towards it. So because it was very slow, right? It turns very slowly. So you can adjust your aim in a small sense, that's easy. But as soon as you have to make like a big sweep, that's gonna take you half a second to a second or something like that. And so if you want to dodge the card, then you need to be fast or flash it hard, or both preferably. So those were usually the counters to these things. Do you think people eventually will be able to make maps like customized maps, seeing the fact that there's a bunch of things that are added? You're asking about the level editor. Probably not. Like, definitely not in the foreseeable future. Maybe someday. I don't want to say never, but there are two reasons that makes this very unlikely. First, it would be a lot of work for us to make a level editor that's that's actually useful to people, usable by people, because right now we are creating our maps in Unity. So yeah, getting a proper level editor out there would be a lot of work. And as I said earlier, small team, we need to prioritize, and it would be nice to have, but it's not part of the core game, right? And that's the other thing. It's actually against the core of the game, because one of the main premises of the game is to reduce map knowledge, right? We don't want you to know the maps or in and out. And if you're making your own map, well, guess what? You probably know it in and out. So we kind of don't want that. There would still be some value. It would be nice to have a level editor and then able to create maps for custom games to play with your friends, or maybe like do special maps for special events or something like that. So we see that I'm not saying there's no value to this, but we don't want, it would not be like the go-to thing. We don't want community members to submit maps that will be put in our map pool consistently. This kind of a thing. Like, there's this kind of thing we call Make a Map, which is an event where a level designer sits down with a community member. Right now this is limited to partners, but we'll probably do some giveaways or something like that, where we'll give away a Make a Map slot or something at some point. So we do this occasionally, but this would not be a regular thing. Like, we don't just want you to create maps en masse and put them in the game, because that kind of goes against the spirit of the game. But for custom games, it would be fun, sure, but as I said, it's not a priority and it would take a lot of work. So don't expect it in the foreseeable future whatsoever. If this game in like 5 years is huge and big and super successful, sure, maybe, but right now, no. Which Alpha Shields is the real question. Yeah, we had multiple iterations. In my opinion, the game should have collision for enemies and friendlies. Not on friendlies, as we had that. Didn't work too well. It causes issues where people can boost each other onto the roof of the building and stuff like that. It's also annoying because your teammates can block you, and it's causing a lot of issues. So probably we will have collision for enemies, but not for friendlies in the future. Flashbangs also knocks the aim off the card, good to know. I think it does, at least to some degree. It definitely makes it hard to aim because you can't see anything anymore, but yeah. What are the reasons to have them have team bullet damage? I understand firing grenades, but why bullet damage? To make your decision matter more. It's probably the short answer. Like, you're asking about, like, friendly fire, right? Yeah, why would that not be a thing in a tactical game, right? Like, why would not have it? I mean, it makes you, like, this is a game about coordination and teamwork, so you should be rewarded for good teamwork and coordination, and you should be punished for bad coordination. And part of the coordination is to know where your teammates are and not like get in. It makes us also like it's if you don't have friendly fire, then you can just all stand in the same spot basically and hold the same line of fire, same sidelines and stuff. If you have friendly fire, then you have to kind of spread out, make sure you're covering each other's backs and stuff like that. It just makes the game more tactical basically. So just joined. How interesting was the stream? Is it worth rewatching? I think we had a bunch of good questions, so I would recommend it. But I mean, for you, Snarms, you know the community in and out, the game in and out, kind of. A few things might have been of interest, but bunch of FAQ questions as well. So maybe skim through it. What is wrong with climbing onto the roof? Let's get Axum in here. He'll start ranting. Climbing onto the roof is cool if it's intended by the level designer. It's not cool if it happens on like a random kill house map where you can look through the roof and completely break the game. So the biggest problem with it is it's unpredictable for the defenders, right? So if you end up in unexpected places, you break the game, because predictability is one of our core pillars of designing this game. There needs to be a decent level of prediction. Like if you can't predict what your enemy is doing, then you cannot plan, right? If there are just too many options and you have no idea what they will do, then you have no idea what to do, so you cannot really make a plan, because how do you make a plan if you have no idea what's going to happen? So predictability is important for this game. It makes planning matter. No, well, it makes planning possible, and planning should matter. That's the core of the game, right? And yeah, randomly getting on the roof by parkouring or boosting each other up is totally unpredictable, unexpected for the enemies, and therefore completely breaks the game. Parkour has always been and is fun. Parkour is fun to pull off, but I don't think I personally, like, I'm not saying like this is all, like, I'm not saying our official statement is that parkour should just not be a thing, but I personally, my personal opinion is that I think parkour is like it's just causing more problems than it's good. So I don't know. It's for the receiving end, it's just annoying for the most part. You want people to not know the maps, but you want the game to be predictable. Yes, yes. You know the map before you go in, right? You have almost 2 minutes to make a plan. Well, not 2 minutes, but 1.5 minutes to make a plan. You can look at the map and stuff like that. So that's why we're putting effort into making the map readable and stuff like that. So you know the map. But it's important to... That totally makes sense. The idea... Okay, so the problem is or the situation we want to avoid is the one where you, for example, in other games, you play a map and you're kind of new to the game, so you don't know the map in and out, but the other people in the game might. So you run through the map and you suddenly get killed from a pixel peek through a little hole somewhere, or whatever, like a cheeky play, something the veterans of the game know of, and you don't, because you don't know the map in and out. That's also unpredictable and frustrating, and that's what we don't want, right? What we want, however, is we want you to look at the map and see, oh, okay, there's a red door here, there's a red door there, there's a green door there, there's a bomb. These are different pathways. So you understand how the map works, you create a plan around it. And making a plan, part of making a plan is also knowing or have an idea what the enemy team would be doing, right? Okay, if you're in an attack, you want to figure out, okay, maybe the defenders can sit over here, holding this line of sight, sit over there, making a flanking position here. Maybe they do some crossfire from there and there. They will probably place barbed wire here and throw Molotovs there, blah blah blah, all that stuff. If you're on defense, okay, they could do a rush play through storefront. They could go through the green door and go be a flash through arcade and take out that power, stuff like that. These are the thoughts we want you to have and the things we want you to think about when making a plan. But if you make these plans and make these predictions about what the enemy is doing, and then they, through some weird geometry or boosting, end up on the roof and just kill you from there, and there's no way for you to predicting that and having an idea that this even happens, then all the planning you made is completely worthless. Because then, you just got crushed because they found a weird thing in the map or a weird thing in the game and abused it. And that's there are two different things. Map knowledge is not about predictability. Map knowledge is about knowing the map in and out and knowing all the little things. We don't surprise you with the map. Because we give you 1.5 minutes to look at it. It's not unpredictable, right? So that's why this is not an oxymoron. Also, we're putting, and that's a good point here from chat, we're putting a lot of effort into making the tile sets consistent. If you learn the game more and more, you'll see more and more that every tile set has its rules. And these rules are usually not broken. And if they're broken, the level designers usually try to make it very obvious that they are broken. So for example, C-Store storefront is always south. Also, C-Store always has the same room. Like every tile set is the same, right? We're not completely mixing them up. It's one of the core things. We not make random maps. We make tile sets, and tile sets should be predictable. That's actually something we talked about yesterday on stream. Axel put it really well. We want you to not know the specifics of a map, but we want you to learn tile sets. We want you to know tile sets. We want you to know that a C-Store has a bathroom, a storefront, an arcade, a teller, and an office usually, and a freezer, right? And sometimes a shed. And we want you to know these rooms can exist in a tile set. We want you to know how they work. We want you to know, hey, C-Store always has shutters south, and you can open them with a button in tellers, like every fucking time. And Factory has dock doors south, always south, and you can always open them with a button right next to the door. That's always the case. And other things are a little bit less always, but also really following patterns and stuff. Like Factory often has a fan, not always, but often has one. The other tile sets don't. It's only Factory that has fans, because that's a Factory tile set. The fan is a Factory thing. So, and the fan always works the same way. You can shoot through it, but you cannot walk through it unless the power is turned off or you shot it out from the inside. So we want you to learn these things. We want you to learn the mechanics of the game. We want you to learn the tile sets, but we don't want you to learn like the pixel peaks and the perfect angles and the weird thingies of the maps. And that's why we don't want you to learn, and that's actually the important part, and I'm kind of my bad that I missed that. That's the first thing I should have said. We don't want you to learn the meta strategy for the map, right? In other games, you're playing Dust for the 5,000th time, and it's not only you played it how many times, whatever, everyone else has played it for so many times that there are like a certain number of strategies that everyone follows because they know these are the dominant strategies. Nobody who's ever in like people who not follow those meta strategies are either at the far top of the chain of the skill tree, right? The people who are super at the top, the people who are creating new strategies that are actually good. That's only like a tiny percentage of your player base, or people who don't play the game super seriously. So these are the people who are not using the meta strategies. Everyone else is following the same strategy. And if you're following someone else's plan, then you're not planning, right? We want you to plan, and that's why you get a new map every time. Okay, rant over. Not a rant, monologue. Okay, there was a lot of chat messages, so I'm not going to read all of that. So if I missed any questions, please repeat them. Donut, I'm going to play 300 games of DP in a week and know all the strats on all the maps. I mean, it's, yeah. If you play a lot, you'll learn some strategies. But even then, you will still be surprised by some plans and stuff like that. Because, yeah, you can like learn some maps because we're not at the point where we have thousands of maps, unfortunately, for technical limitations. Because thousands of maps would take a lot of space on your hard drive. Eventually, maybe we can find a way to come around that problem. But for now, we're kind of limited to the pool we have right now. Maybe a bit bigger. But you still, like, these maps still disappear. Like, they're not getting played on for years. So, yeah, some strategies might manifest here and there, but not everyone will know them, and they will not be as bulletproof as in other games. Is the game worth it? Yes, but I'm biased, so don't listen to me. What was the reason for LOS of the drone killing you instead of a vertical LOS? I.e. you can still be inside of the building and get shot by the drone instead of you have to cross a barrier line. Because it makes more sense. Like making it's the drone can see you, it shoots you. However, it actually differentiates from between inside and outside. Like it will take longer to lock onto you if you're inside. So there's a difference there. But yeah, It's just because it can see you, it shoots you. Why would it not shoot you? Okay, if you get on a roof on C-Store, that's just, it doesn't matter. That's fine, as long as there's not a skylight. And if there's a skylight, there's usually an intended way to get up there. So, yeah. Like if you can get on a C-Store roof, I don't care. That's fine. What I was thinking about was killhouse. In general, we were talking about getting in unintended places though. Like if you can get in an unintended place that doesn't give you an advantage, it doesn't matter. The problem is that boosting and stuff like that gives you the ability to get into places that are not expected. Like in the rafters on Factory, for example, or on the roof on Killhouse. Getting onto the roof is not banned. I mean, it's not possible for the most part. We're not banning for game exploits, obviously. If we're talking about the main game, DPL might be a different thing, but we just don't. We don't like the whole discussion was about why we don't have team collision, right? That was the trigger of this conversation. I mean, if you're getting on the roofs with the means we have provided, then yeah, by all means, do that. But it's not going to help you on most maps. And we'll usually make sure that you can't get on a Killhouse roof, because that's where it's getting nasty. All right, any more questions I missed during that debate that was apparently triggered by a misunderstanding? All right, there are a few factories where there's actually roof access. It's labeled on the map. Like again, that's when the level designers are breaking a rule, like you can get on the roof on Factory. They're making it very obvious. They're putting a big label there that's called roof access. So everyone who looks at the map immediately knows, oh, someone can get on a roof there and look through the window. And on C-Store, it's similar, right? If there is a skylight, then it's very obvious that there is a skylight. You can, like, it's big and blue. It's kind of hard to miss. And also there's like a big staircase leading onto the roof. So, well, it's not even breaking a rule. Like on C-Store, it's kind of a regular thing to have a skylight. Roof access on Factory is more experimental. Isn't the Killhouse roof ballistic? I think it is ballistic, but it still is broken because it's you can look through it, so you can make perfect callouts. And you can flashbang people through the roof, which is not cool. Will we be able to shoot nukes at the maps? Wrong game? Due process 67 when? Yeah, dude, I answered that already. I can go over it again though. Will the smokes be more volumetric so they won't leak through walls in other rooms? Okay, so we want that, obviously. Like, smokes going through walls is stupid. But it's not super important. It's annoying, but it's not super game breaking. So it's not a super high priority. The problem is it's actually kind of tricky to solve. Like it's a hard problem. It's not easy to solve, from what I've been told anyway. So it's very low on the priority list because it's not super important and it's hard to do. So a lot of other things will be done before we tackle that problem. C-Store with only skylight when? Next April maybe? Volumetric smokes are quite demanding, yeah. Smokes going through walls is a tactical element that shouldn't be changed anymore. I think you're talking about corner smokes and stuff like that. I don't know. It's very whack. I see tactical application for it. Like I see your argument. It gives a tactical choice that can be interesting. Roof smokes too, yeah, true. But it's, I don't know. I mean, roof smokes are pretty much gone, aren't they? Because we changed the shape of the smoke. But I think it's better to implement tactical decisions and strategies in ways that make more sense in universe. Like, why would smokes go through walls? It's obviously broken, right? It's obviously not something that makes sense in the game. So I think we would rather have, like, eventually we'll probably tackle this. Cyberpunk smoke, it goes through walls. I mean, you can, at some point you're losing believability is the problem. What does open mic mean? It means that whenever you talk, your teammates will hear you. You don't have to press a button. It's the opposite of push to talk, basically. Not the opposite, but a different speaking mode, so to speak. Ha! Bad pun. Not pun, but whatever. Yeah. RTX soon, imagine. No. Due Process 2, maybe. And no, Due Process 2 is not confirmed. That was a joke. The goal is not to abandon this game for a successor. The goal is to make this a great game. And RTX is probably out of scope for now anyway. For customizations, will beta or alpha players have something unique? Oh, for sure. We'll have something special for them. DP merge when? Donut with the hard questions. I mean, I think you can still buy the pin on the Annapurna website store. I think. Let me check. Or you can buy something on Annapurna store. I mean, I think. Merge. Let me check. Or there's an item there and it's unavailable or something like that. There's definitely Due Process merge. Show sort. No, is there no search? Why is there no search? Is there no search or am I not seeing it? Pins. Why is there no search? So dumb. There we go. $15 gets you a Due Process badge pin. It's even the old logo, so grab it while you can. But if you want merch, there's merch on the Annapurna store. Just putting that out there. And if enough people buy it, Annapurna will realize that it's the old logo. So. Oh, you bought it through eBay. Yeah, I think we gave them away at one of the packs as we were. Give me an Argus plushie. Ooh, no. Oh no, Argus plushie. Oh, that's. Oh no. That would be horrible. I kind of want one now though, but. All right. I think we can slowly but surely bring this stream to a close. So if you have any more questions, now is the time. Otherwise, I will bring this to an end. Buying a pin now. All right, Blapsap, that's the spirit. Best DP player. I want to say Sir Donut. So, I mean, you definitely carried me during the first partner showdown. But probably not the best. I don't know. It's hard to say who's the best for sure. I mean, there are a bunch of really good players. It also depends on what you like, by which criteria. There are people with different qualities. I know it was a joke question, but I'm trying to come up with some answer. But Eh. Like which is who's, for example, the best in getting new players to experience the core fun of the game? That's an easy one. Revenant. Best DP team, and why is it LCG? It's LCG because they're German, most of them, some of them. By the way, Toxic, I realized a few days ago, and it's to my shame, I realized I have no idea what LCG stands for. Like, I assume the C stands for... No, I have no idea. Oh, you neither? That's great. Like, is C for Cloud City or something like that? Local cool Germans. That would make sense, actually. Loving, caring gamers. Asked Ku once, but forgot. Oh, great. So Ku knows. I guess I have to ask Ku or Pablo. I assume Pablo knows. All right. As I said, let's bring this to a close. So yeah, this was community hours. Oh, that's the wrong button. This was community hours, our weekly Q&A stream. Something City Gaming. Yeah, I think it is, but it's not like it's so weird because the tournament is called Cloud City Gaming, but that doesn't start with an L. So what is it? Lego City Gaming, maybe? Thanks, 23. Is it a bug that when defenders get NVGs, they are not affected by the flash as much? If that's true, it's a bug. I think. But it should not be. Like, I think they should be affected by the flash as much. Actually, no, I think NVGs actually block some of it. I'm not sure if that's intended, actually. I heard that before. I'm actually not sure. Might be. Ask Ozzy. He'll know. Argus, Attacker Retro Group United Station. Something like that. Alright, as I said, this is our weekly community hours Q&A stream. We'll do another one next week, and we'll also do map streams on Monday and Tuesday as usual. So I'll try to have a guest next week, probably. We'll see if I can find one. I have a few people in mind. We'll see. Hopefully. But yeah, I'll try to do for that to be a thing. Smith? No, Smith is not. I mean, I could do Smith, but it's so pointless. Like, he's streaming, making map streams once a week usually. Well, not this week, but other weeks. So kind of what is the point, kind of, right? Why? If you want to know more about Smith, then I recommend checking out the C-Store podcast episode where he gets interviewed. Well, maybe we'll do Smith eventually. Pablo is not a dev team member. I'm talking about dev team members. What about the 21 round deagle? That's a big bug. Yeah, it is. We are aware. We'll fix it. It's dumb. It's really funny though. It's a really funny bug, but yeah, kind of game breaking. Anyway, as I said, end of stream. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm TH Pine, your community garden manager. I'll see you next time and in the game. We're raiding Lilia the Succubus. Be nice to her and say hello. So see you next time. I forgot to do.
I'm sleeping at 39. This is 1, I'm sleeping at 39.